Hey everyone, how you doing? Welcome to Paranormal Round Table with Josh Turner. I'm him. Trying to get something ready here. Man, it's been a hectic day, guys. I'm sorry it took me so long. We weren't planning on starting at 9 o'clock. We were planning on starting at like about 7:38. But plans, you make plans and God laughs. And that's the truth. I mean, we humans think that we got it all figured out, but we're not God. God always has other plans. And I had a lot to do today. I'm not saying that God cared about what I was doing today. I'm saying that, the old saying, we make plans and God laughs. Yeah, it's out there. Let me see if I got it. I think it's up there on the counter. So disorganized today, running around, doing stuff. Had a bunch of things to do for other people that need my help. Buddy of mine, a guy that actually I saw the Dogman with when I was 15. His dad is elderly, and I had to make sure he had a phone today, so I was busy doing that, and I had to go and take my trucks are in the shop, so I had to go and get a vehicle. And yesterday I was given a loaner, which really sucked because it hurt my back really bad. It was what the heck was it called? A Nautilus? I don't remember. It was some kind of vehicle that really sucked, and I'm glad my wife didn't like it. I just can tell you that right now. Because she gave the Edge, our wonderful Ford Edge that I love driving, to Mushu. He's a good kid, but is he worthy of an Edge? I don't know. We'll see. But she gave it to him for his birthday, and so our extra vehicle, gone. So now I got to find another SUV. So they gave me a Tahoe to drive today, and I really like it. But it's got like this, the tent is like this thick at the top. And so there's this line there while you're driving, and it's dark up here, and you're going like, what is this? It's really annoying. So needless to say, this isn't the vehicle for me. But put my hat on because my hair is not doing too much for me today. Oh, boy. Hey, what was that vehicle called? Just so the listeners don't go by it. What's it? The Nautilus? What's it? Lincoln Nautilus. Ooh, my back. If you're really skinny, and maybe it's the vehicle for you because it wasn't for me. It hurt me with the seats. If you're one of those people that's, I'm going to buy a PRT hoodie that's a small or a medium, you probably would like it. But if you're extra large, or maybe 2X and up, you're probably not going to like it. So. I'm going to get me a hoodie with a burgundy trim, and it's a medium for me, probably because I'm nice and slim. That's not me. Not me. But you can get a burgundy colored hoodie. As you can see, we have the light blue hoodies. And these are not devil horns, okay? These are boar tusks. I used to wear one as a necklace and decided to go ahead and wear my bigger boar tusk on this one. This is a 600-pound hog, folks, right here. 450-pound hog, or 400-pound hog. Or actually, no, it's closer to 350, I think, those two. These are from the same hog. When I wore this last time, my necklace, there was a lady who messaged me. She goes, I refuse to support your show. I will no longer support you, Josh Turner, because you kill tigers. And I was completely shocked. I was like, I have not killed a tiger with my bare hands in weeks. I hunt with my bare hands, folks. I don't use weapons. Weapons are for pussies. I actually go out and kill these animals with my bare hands and my teeth. Okay. I said, these are boars. And she said, the boar is a majestic animal. I said, on what, Game of Thrones? I said, look, it's a nuisance animal. They kill our livestock. They destroy millions of dollars in damage, crops. The deer walking around with, I'm not joking, the deer walking around, stepping in their divots from these hogs, and they're walking around with broken legs. I saw a stag the other day. I felt so bad for him. He was in the city limits, so you couldn't do nothing to him, and it's not in season. But gosh dang, man, he had 3 legs. Thank you, pigs. Thank you, hogs. So if I take something and wipe out a hog, I don't feel bad about it. Okay? I'm doing my state a favor, and there's a lot of counties. I think Milam and Lee and several other counties, actually Caldwell County maybe, I think so. They put bounties on them. Not in Travis, but yeah, a lot of the neighboring counties do. Pretty sure Mason County, they put bounties on these hogs. There's a reason for that, because they suck. They're really, really horrible. This woman told me the other day how a couple of hogs went into her fence line and attacked and gored her horse. That ain't it. This one woman told me one of them snatched up one of her kittens and just killed it, took off with it. Them and coyotes, they're just giant pains in the butt. So everybody talking about they're a majestic animal, my foot. You're going to think that when they attack you. We'll do the Patreon real quick. Kevin Scott, David Allman, Christy, Shonda Hardinger, Brady Matsunaga, Cyril, David Vigil, Fat Squatch, Sonia Girding, Gwen Sorensen, Dorothy Metcalf, Mimi Piccolelli, Polly G, Melissa Koyman, Pauline Rome, Joanne L. Hartnett, Mary Plyler, Stephen Hall, Miguel Guieta, Eric Garcia, Ryan, Tim Lewis, Super Hornet 1, Debbie Wolf, Extreme Reality Check, Histotech, James Estrada, Tim Bernard, Ricardo Herrera, Titan, Dead Man Walking, Russell Nash, Guy, Melissa Panay, Derek Tribble, Andrea Kraft, Shannon, Dick Richards, Joyce Brunette, Barbara Blindy, Martin Hertel, Terry Fusler, Chris Clough, Curtis Turner, Philip Morn, Alexander Murphy, and Matthew Dergo. You guys help produce the show. Thank you so much from the bottom of my heart for being Patreon members, because you help me be able to do this. Because me and Anthony, like I said, we have to take time off to do this, and we're running around trying to get things covered tonight. We could get done a lot, and the show could go longer, and we could get it done a lot. We can, if we, could delegate this as more time to this. But what we're doing is we're having to do what is most important, which is, our job. And like I said, I wish I could do this full time. And maybe someday. I got a lot to talk about. We got some stories we're going to talk about. We're going to do a Q&A tonight. I got a Dogman story that's pretty good. I want to throw it out there and get your opinion on it. And I got what I think is a vampire story. In fact, I know it is. I don't know what else to call this, but a vampire. That's the only thing I could call it. And I really wanted to, I was going to wait and try to make another episode with that, but why not just do it? I mean, you people show up for the live. You deserve it. You don't just wait around for the podcast. You come in and you show up and you support it and you give us donations and you help us out. The donations are greatly appreciated. They're not expected, but we appreciate them because they help it make it worth it for us to do this. And the donations, I'm going to be real honest with you. Every penny of the donations goes towards the giveaways. We're not making a dime off of that. We're looking at the long term here. We're not looking at the short term. I want you out there wearing the PRT hat, like this PRT hat right here. I want you wearing this right here. I want you out there telling people, hey, there's a good show out there, because we at PRT are a family. They want to categorize us, and say, hey, PRT, they're like the cult. They're like a Manson family, whatever the heck you want to call it. I was like, well, you know what? I don't know what the Manson family did in their spare time, but this Manson family works a lot. And we're into the paranormal here. And we're into cryptids, we're into the alien abduction, we're into ghosts, we're into all that stuff. I will be on a show on Friday. Now, here's the good part, folks. You're going to get a double dose of me, which still can't wrap my head around why somebody would want that. But you're going to get a double dose of me come Friday. Because Friday, Okay, I had agreed to something a couple weeks back. Didn't even kind of realize it. I told Vincent Richardson that I would do it, and I was invited by Lon Strickler to go on his show. And we're going to have the link on the Paranormal Round Table group. So if you're not in the Paranormal Round Table group on Facebook, go join. Even though we probably, by our estimations, have about 8,000 members, Facebook has frozen us at 7.3. So we're actually approving 8 to 10 members a day, and we're still at 7.3. Because for whatever reason, Facebook doesn't like me or doesn't like us. I don't know what I did to these people. But their fact checker, Mbaba Cook, he says that we're bad people. So he's probably right. Okay. Anyways, they decided that they don't like me. Me stupid American. No like. Not like. And so paranormal is basically not real. Fact checkers said so. Okay. Chip, chop, chip. And Voltron, thank you for that donation. Appreciate that. That's awesome. Really, really appreciate it so much. I've noticed that, not only, like even just now before the show started, I was sitting there going over the notes and everything, and I approved several members, and I'm going like, this is like every day. My wife's approving people. I'm approving people. How is it that we are getting 8 to 10 members a day, and we've been stuck at 7.3 thousand members for 2 months, over 2 months, since December? Okay. You, as well as I know, if you look on there, look at how many people, And also I wanted to tell everybody, we hit 17,000 subscribers on YouTube. That's another milestone. It's not my goal. I'll be happy when we hit at least 20. But I'm not going to rest, okay? But 17,000, it's one of the goals. I mean, getting to the main goal is pretty good. I'm happy for that. But let me give you the specs on this show that we're going to be doing. So I'm going to have the Mandela Effect Part 2. Mandela Effect Part 2 will be dropped at 7 p.m.? 7 p.m. on Friday, right? As soon as you're done with that, jump on over and listen to me, and I'll give you the details on it right now. Let me look up this. Hold on one second, and I'll give you the details. And then we're going to get started on some stories. It's a cryptid roundtable discussion. And me and Ron Murphy. It's going to be me. I'm trying to see here. It's already got 4 likes. It's Phantoms and Monsters Radio. Okay, that's Lon Strickler. So it's going to be me, Lon Strickler, Ron Murphy, Elijah Henderson from the Cryptid Studies Institute. Everybody's got to know who he is. If you don't, you will. The guy's really good at what he does. He's Johnny Henderson's son. So it's going to be him and Kenny Irish from American Cryptids. The book American Cryptids, it was a bestseller, 2-time bestseller. And here's another thing that I'm kind of stoked about, but a little bit nervous about. I've never done this before. I've never written a foreword for a book. And Ken, my colleague Ken Gerhardt, he actually wrote the foreword for Kenny on his last book. I've been asked by Kenny Irish to write the foreword on his new book. So I'm stoked about that, but a little bit nervous too because I don't want to write something stupid. And here we go. Can you get my glasses too, dude? I think they might be in the room in there. It says, thanks for the show. A couple months ago, I started listening to all the paranormal podcasts. Your podcast is head and shoulders above the rest. I like to think so. I don't want to say your name wrong, so let me put my glasses on so I can see because I'm farsighted, folks. Nirot Anaxa. Wow. Okay. Nirotanaxa. Anaxam de Bear. I'm having a hard time saying your name. Here's another thing. I want to thank Jenny Berry. Jenny Berry, thank you for that care package. Some of you people send us care packages, And it's really awesome. They're really cool. And I wanted to throw this one out there real quick before we got started. Jenny, thank you for that. My wife really liked all the really kind and sweet gifts you sent her. Thank you so much for that. That was very thoughtful of you. Very nice. Nothing for me, but that's okay. I forgive you for being selfish. So anyway, we're going to talk about this. This person wrote me a whole letter. A whole letter. Really cool. So he made me a Native American medicine bag. There's a pendant in here that I haven't opened yet. I haven't had time to. It's a pendant. And this is the bag, and there's like sage and herbs in the bottom that his girlfriend put in there. It's really cool if you see the bag. And this person, Corey Shane Cole, wrote me a letter, dude. That's freaking incredible. We have the best fans in the world. I'm telling you right now. Really, really good people. Really, really good people. And I actually talked to one of my contacts not too long ago up in Durant, up in Oklahoma, who gave me he hasn't finished yet, so I'm not going to get into it, but it's a Skinwalker story, and I may do a show just on the Skinwalker story. And if you haven't listened to Ryan and Ashley's latest about the Wendigo, go check it out. Seems like it's pretty cool. Carl King. Carl says, just talk to Barton and Ken if you get nervous. They're great friends. They're really great at writing stuff too. Yeah, I actually talked to all three of them yesterday because we're on a thread together. I call it the Cryptid Highwaymen. And so we communicate pretty regularly. And I was like, you know what? It's time to re-up on some books. Let me know in the comments, guys, what kind of books you want. Also in the works of talking with Steve Stockton, and I got to read his book, which I agreed to do. But then Omicron hit me, and like I said, I had some health issues, but I'm working past it. I've worked out last night and the night before. Hey, Palito, my nephew, he's in the chat room. How you doing, mijo? And so that being said, we're gonna get started here. I'm looking forward to Friday, and I honestly think that Kenny Irish is going to be the next big author. I think he's going to be the guy. I really do. I think he's going to be in Loki, which is goes by Caleb Bice. Loki, how you doing? I think that I'm really nervous about writing the forward because I think he's an awesome author. He sent me some children's books too. So folks, if you're a listener and you have children and you would like some of these autographed Kenny Irish children's books, they're about cryptids, but they're made for kids and they're really cool. And he sent me a whole shipment of them so that when I give a prize or something away to a listener, you can have your kid. I can have something to give for your child, because a lot of people, it's a family deal, we try to keep it clean as much as possible. So the family, it's not really made for children, but a lot of people do listen as a family. I don't mean little kids, but you know what I mean? But anyway, if you have small children and you win a prize, let me know so that I can give you a book to send for your kids. The keychains, by the way. Everybody's asking about the keychains. Those keychains, they're not really made to use as a keychain, dude. Okay, I'm going to tell you right now. I tried and pretty much came to the conclusion that it's going to fall off of your keychain because they're just like little decorations. Arturo, I see you. How you doing? Everybody, Lene, everybody in the chat here. So yeah, if you're looking at trying to use it as a keychain, I know Holly, she said she was going to do that. That's fine, but it may come loose. I mean, they're just little $4 or $5 deals or whatever. So we don't sell them because I don't feel comfortable selling something that you can't really use as a keychain. You might, but it might not. A couple people in my household have been using them. They're just fine. Mine fell off. So I was like, oh no, we can't have that. So anyway, it's just kind of like a little cool decoration, something I throw in there with when you win something. We have some people that won some prizes this past week. Your stuff will be mailed out. Don't worry. I'm going to get on that tomorrow. And we're going to pick 2 more people tonight. If we can get some some admins in here. If we can get somebody to admin. Scorpion, I know, is helping my wife clean out the room. Her, and Diablo are all busy moving stuff out so we can get stuff put into storage. So we don't have as much stuff to move when we get the house done. So yeah, I wanted to tell everybody something too before we get started on the stories. One more thing. Start investing in assets. I'm giving you the heads up. You're hearing it from me right now from my mouth. Okay, because inflation is very real, folks, and we're heading for a serious problem to where your assets will be worth a lot more than money. You think I'm kidding? Your vehicle, it never in the history of vehicles has there been you drive it off the lot and it starts to appreciate. The minute you drive a vehicle off the lot, in particular a car, it depreciates. Trucks can kind of keep their value some, but ultimately vehicles now they are appreciating in value. It's so weird. And that is happening now. So I'm trying to get my ducks in a row and get everything set up so that whenever the dollar goes into the complete toilet, which it seems like it will, I have enough assets. Buy gold, folks. Physical gold. Buy silver. Physical silver. Invest in whatever you want to invest in, but make sure it's a tangible item that will go lockstep with inflation, because it's going to be worth more than your money. You can buy something that's of value. I'm talking vintage baseball cards, old comic books that are worth money, good ones, and so that they'll keep pace with inflation, because your dollar is going to be worthless. I hate to tell you that. I'm not trying to be a Debbie Downer here, but it's the truth. I have a lot of connections. I have a lot of friends, dude. And if you guys, as part of the PRT family, you want to come to Austin and work with me, help build an empire, come on. I told Ken Mullins, come on. Jason Bland, come on. I got a place for you. Let's create the biggest paranormal powerhouse that the world has ever seen. Let's create the biggest security business the world has ever seen. Let's all work together. Let's be the biggest giant, like, whatever. Let's do it. Now, I don't have to be the leader or whatever, just be one of the guys. I don't care. I'm the kind of guy that I'm a leader, but I'll follow somebody who's a strong alpha that knows what they're doing. You know, that's how you learn. I've had a lot of mentors in my life that I followed. My current business partner at one time, he was, I was but the learner, now I am the master. You know what I'm saying? Like, he was the guy. He taught me a lot about business and everything. And I was the junior. But now we're on equal footing. But it took, a few years to learn. And he kept telling me you have a lot to learn. I kept getting mad. But you know what? He was right. And God bless him for it. So anyway, that being said, thank you for the gift. This guy really, really went out of his way to make me this. It's a protection amulet. Wrote a letter and everything. Corey, thank you so much. Thank you for that. I cherish any and all gifts that people send me. And I love to send gifts out too. Corey, hit me up on Facebook Messenger or email, and let me send you something back. Holly says, hi, PRT fam. Josh, I absolutely love my care package, and my PRT keychain is holding up great so far. Thank you again for sending it to me. No problem. I enjoy giving. I really do. Even some of the people that I've had to give to in Canada, they're charging me $80 for a little box to send. But you know what? It's worth it to send to my listeners. If you're a loyal listener, dude, it is what it is. Unfortunately, it's still so expensive to send to the UK, and it breaks my heart because we have a ton of followers in the UK and Australia, and you just can't send them anything. It's just it's $200, $300. It's unreal. So. Yes, the Paranormal Trucker Podcast. Thank you for that. Want to take a second to shout out my brother and sister drivers trying to change things. Absolutely. Alan Laster says, I have family in Austin. Austin's a beautiful city, but it's being, trashed out. But you know what? the state troopers went in and started clearing out the homeless people, the homeless camps, because the crime was just out of control. Again, because the mayor, he wouldn't do anything about it. But so what I have tonight, I was planning on having a guest, but she backed out. She had something going on, so it happens. You have to have a backup. So I decided to dip into my podcast arsenal and start throwing some stuff out there. But it's exciting to me because there's a Dogman story I wanted to go over. And actually, there's a couple. And this reminds me, and I'm going to talk about this eventually when we go back to some of the people from the Hernandez Ranch. If anybody remembers Shane from the Hernandez Ranch, his brother had a very harrowing, because he likes to antagonize these things. I don't know why, but it's just it's kind of how he is. And so he decided to take a shot at one of these again. And then when him and his wife were driving to town, going toward Wimberley, here in Central Texas, something nearly ran them off the road. They ran off into a ditch and they went back up on the road because something ran out in front of their vehicle, and I know that it did it on purpose. These creatures are calculating, and they're evil. I don't give a crap what anybody says. I have gotten very little good stuff out of them. Everybody is always talking about, they're forest people, and the Dogman is an undiscovered species. There's even one fool that has I'm not going to get into who he is. You can probably guess. But he's dumb enough to have a group called an undiscovered species. This is not an undiscovered species, okay? Yeah, it's undiscovered. It ain't a species. It's a devil of some kind, okay, because of the things that they do. Maybe they're from the inner earth of the species, but I guarantee you we're never going to find a specimen of these, and that's going to be like, oh, we found one. What species of animal stands up on its hind legs and runs around, chasing people, breaking into people's houses, killing their pets, okay, on their hind legs, that looks like a wolf? I mean, think about it. How asinine and ridiculous of a person do you have to be to believe that that's what that is? Oh, yeah. Thank you, Monica Lonsich. Thank you for that. Did I say your name right? That's just ridiculous, okay? And we're going to start with the Dogman story. Here's what happened. And that's not just Shane's brother, who I'm not going to comment, but I think he's got some issues. And that's not just me talking. That's, that's the consensus that he does have a few. He's kind of, I had a friend like him who doesn't really care, just does whatever he feels, did go to jail not too long ago for, just doing whatever he felt like. He didn't stay in there, but he could have gotten in a lot of trouble. He believes in, hey, I see something, I shoot it. Okay? I'm not that kind of person. I'm not going to go, I'm going to see them and shoot it. But if it's messing around with my family, my property, and my animals and killing them, yeah, you darn well better believe something. I'm going to put in work on that behind. This is what's crazy. All right. These people were driving down the back roads of Tennessee. I mean, there again, Tennessee is full of weird stuff. So is Kentucky, Mississippi. And this person told me that they were in the back roads of Tennessee. They were driving, and they were going to a friend's party out in the country. And it happened near Knoxville. And one of the things that they said was, this thing came running across the road, stopped right in front of their vehicle. They weren't going too fast because it was a gravel road where they were heading toward a drive. And then it stopped, ran its hands, it was a hand, across the top of the vehicle, and then got down on all fours and ran across the road. It was a very brief encounter, but they gave me a very, very, very good description of it. It had reddish-brown fur, and it had very shaggy, almost like a hump on its back with very shaggy shoulders. skinny, elongated arms and a skinny, long snout and skinny legs and a very V-shaped, skinny torso. The reason that little short encounter, okay, with yellow glowing eyes, glowing, they said, the reason that encounter was so telling to me, and it was so important for me to come out and talk about that, is because I got a story from somebody who lived in Alabama when this happened, and she's of Native American blood. Her husband is not, but they were driving, and very similar thing happened. The only thing is, this wasn't the first time. She grew up on a reservation, and then they moved to Alabama. She moved to Alabama to live with her husband now, who lives down by the coast in a very beautiful area. People don't realize Alabama has actually a very beautiful coastline in some spots. Before all that, she said this happened in 1992. In 1992, she was a kid, and she was in the back seat of her car with her parents, and they were driving through the countryside. And she says, I'll never forget it. She's like, I look over, and my dad is like, holy effing S word, you know, what is that? And they slowed down, and this thing, one of them was holding up, like it was standing up on its hind legs, holding up a barbed wire fence, while another one was ducking down. Then it got on all fours and ran. And she watched it happen, and this thing ran, and it was like kind of looking back at the other one, and the other one was making a yelping noise, and that thing ran right into the side of their vehicle. And their vehicle began to fishtail, and they went into the oncoming lane, and then they swerved back. There wasn't a vehicle coming. It wasn't like a 18-wheeler. Every time 18-wheeler in the movies or TV, it wasn't like that. But they swerved into the lane, and then they got control, and the vehicle, she thought they were going to flip. And she said that if she remembers correctly, that the left side, the right side where she was at actually did come up off the ground. And so she was terrified. Now, here's a description. Shaggy, same thing. It was the shaggy shoulders, shaggy with these, she said they had really skinny, almost emaciated looking limbs, and really thin midsections, really pointy snouts, reddish brown. Very strange. Very, very strange. And she said that thing ran right into the side of the vehicle, like it hit the door, kind of like right behind where she was sitting, like boom, you know. And they were like in a Suburban, by the way. And then she had a sister and a brother too. They were on the other side. But it hit the vehicle, and the kids, they just, you know, tossing around, you know, whatever. They had their seatbelts on, luckily. But dude, when I heard the story, and I started going, man, I've heard this before. You know, I'm sitting there reading this. And so that's when I went back when these people from Tennessee gave me that story. I thought, oh, great, I'm going to do a show about this because I'm getting these reports. Now I got about 4 or 5 of them of this creature that looks like. The other thing, too, is they had the backward bent legs, but the hocks were way up high, kind of sharp and pronounced, and they were very skinny. And to me, I don't really buy into the whole, well, there's this type of dog man, that type of dog man, this dog man, there a dog man, everywhere a dog man. I don't know. What I don't get into all the different type B, A, C, 1 through 6. Who cares, okay? It just struck me. I was like, wait a minute. So I went back into my archives, and I was like, dude, there's got to be a connection here, and there was. So now I'm asking everybody out there, if you know anybody or you got anybody who's got a story like that, hit me up, because I'd like to make the connection there. What is that? It's definitely a type of dog man, but it's not like if you just saw one and it was a one-off, you would be like, okay, that's just maybe an emaciated, a little scrawny, crappy dog. You know, a dog man didn't have a lot to eat, all right? He's living off breakfast cereal with no milk. He's having a hard time out there. Maybe he got kicked out of the pack. I don't know what his deal was. Maybe he was a jerk. He talked too much. I don't know what his deal was. You know, you get around him and he's real depressed. He's like, I don't know. I'm not one to complain. My insurance premiums, blah, blah, blah. They're like, oh, God, Delbert is just We got to get rid of this dude. You know, I don't know if that was the case or if that would be the case, but this is not the case because there were two of them. And then you got another one in Tennessee. But Alabama and Tennessee, you know, not that far apart. But here's the thing. Why did she see one as a child and then see it again as an adult? That's weird, right? Doesn't make a whole lot of sense. I mean, it's like, why would this thing? I mean, did it find her? Man, there's so many weird, unanswered questions when it comes to this phenomena. You're just sitting there going like, what are we dealing with? You know, I can't wrap my mind around it because every time I think I got something like a beat on this thing, I'm like, yeah, here we go. We got some threads here. Then some more threads pop up and you start pulling and then you go deeper and deeper. And I know that there are more people out there who have seen these things. Norm Slap says, I bet the Dogman just wants to play fetch or be pet. That's what it is. Or I've heard you bring it on yourself. Your bad energy invites them to you. Maybe that's the case. I don't know. I don't believe that. I do think that when they're seen by themselves, that you're probably looking at just like I said, it could be an outcast or something that would explain their really skinny, emaciated look. But when you take 30 years worth of Dogman encounters right there, like 30 years literally, and you got multiple this weird shape, the skinny arms, the skinny legs, and the skinny midsection, and the same color. What is that? Like, I mean, you know, that's really weird. So I just thought that was something that we could throw out there, and you guys give me your opinions, and we can do a Q&A, and then we'll move on to the vampires. Athena Goss says the Dogman most likely migrated there and then recognized the scent of her. Well, I did talk to her, and her perfume, she's been wearing poison for the last 30 years. The perfume poison, I blame that. I told her, stop buying that. Okay? Let's do something else. Jimmy Choo, I don't know, something. Okay? I'm just joking, folks. It wasn't about that. She wear poison. Poison's like, it's like a really old, that's like an old perfume, right? Isn't that like old, Anthony? The perfume Poison, that's like from the old days or something, right? Like from the long, long ago. See? He ain't even heard of it. You're a millennial, right? Yeah, so you wouldn't even know. Yeah, this person, Nirat Anak Sam Man Bear says, I once heard a Sufi sheikh say that for every human, there are 10 of them. For every snake, there are 50 of their snakes. He claims to see them all. Actually, there are, I believe it was a cleric, like a Sikh, who said that he was able to talk to the jinn, and that he claimed that that our own thought forms are creating these things, and that they're very powerful because they don't have any kind of rules, whereas demons have to follow like a rule. They break the rules all the time because they're outlaws. I mean, you know, if Lutefisk is outlawed, only outlaws are going to have Lutefisk. I mean, that's the saying, right? So you would think about it, these things, you know, could be a thought form, could be something that we're conjuring up with our own minds, and we're giving them power. You know, one of my colleagues who has a very successful podcast, he says that there is a spiritual thing attached to these deals, you know, and it just makes it very powerful when you know. Folks, don't dwell on these things. I mean, you know, we could talk about them let's talk about them on Tuesdays and Fridays and whatever. And the rest of the week, let's just focus on doing the right thing and being kind to each other and helping each other and prayer, whatever your religion is, and just positivity, focusing on positivity. My hat looks lopsided. What the heck is going on here? Anyway, but, because if you focus on something, I was in New Braunfels. We went there to this German restaurant, Alpinhaus. It's delicious food. German food is highly underrated. It's very good. And you can't get any in Austin. So we went in to New Braunfels, which isn't far from there. We went to the one of the largest outlets mall. What do you call it? The outlet malls. It's right there in San Marcos. And I went to the Invicta store. And they have really beautiful watches. I collect Invicta watches, and I bought one for my wife, and me and Tony and Anthony. We all got a watch. And I got Scorpion, a really cool Cowboys watch, whatever. But we went. We say, let's go eat in New Braunfels. We drove right by. If you go back to the Halloween episode this past Halloween, we drove right by where that guy was. He was camped out. Right under that, right by that bridge where those two dogmen went right up to him by the river. And we drove right by it. And I was like, there it is right there. That's exactly where that's the place he described to me. That's where he was at. And you drive right by it and you're sitting there going like, that is crazy, dude. That's crazy. I mean, it was years ago. But, nothing beats a Germanic Texas bakery in my opinion. I tell you where to go. Go to Ellinger. I'm not joking, man. They got a Czech bakery there. It's out of this world. Schulenburg got another. It's a Germanic and Czech bakery. Fredericksburg and New Braunfels are both Germanic towns with a lot of good food, cool stuff to do. Central Texas is absolutely being overrun with people right now, but it's because it's so cool. There's a German settlement called Green, Gruene. If you go there, it's really cool. It's fun to do. Yeah, Dark Waters does destroy these things on the Mexican border. Yeah, absolutely, because I've gotten reports of that too, of people coming over here trying to cross or whatever and getting snatched up. I had a friend who did nefarious things back in the 90s, and he claims that he got chased by a Sasquatch-looking creature. Well, not a creature. He got chased by a couple of them when they were doing something down there on the Rio Grande. Yeah, right there by... I think it was near Eagle Pass. Or no, I think it was. Yeah. So, I mean, it says here, I believe so, using a tulpa to change, kind of like venom. Yeah. Yeah, Athena, I agree. Man, the Mexican border is full of stories on both sides. Absolutely. Cassidy, I see you're here. Better late than never. You've already missed the Dogman story, but hey, I forgive you. It's whatever. Guess you wanted to live your life or whatever you got going on. It's more important than us, but that's okay. It's fine, whatever. Show up late, be rude. Holly said poison was the bomb diggity. You used to use that? You used to wear that, Holly? I remember my mom wore that. I know it was an older perfume. Lene Perkins asked a good question. She says, do you think Anubis was just a representation of a species of dog humanoid? Let's think about that for a minute. Probably. Probably, because I believe that at one time the entire world had a global civilization. And I think that there were certain points in that civilization, like Egypt. I think Egypt was kind of the last. They were the inheritors of it. And then by the time the Romans had come, well, Alexander, he had already conquered it, and then the Romans, and their civilization just faded and their power waned. And it all kind of just got lost to time. The burning of the Alexandrian library. What a tragedy that was, because we could have, the teachings and writings of all these great elders from the past, like Pluto, I'm sorry, Pluto. Pluto. Yeah, Pluto, the dog from Mickey Mouse's dog. Hey, Pluto. He was a great philosopher, great teacher. Did you know that? No, it was Plato. Sorry, Plato. Pluto. Yeah, Lene, I agree too. You feel like they were a race. Here's food for thought. The Anunnaki. They come here. They set themselves up as gods. They terraform the earth, right? Then they need workers, so they create mankind in their image. Now, this doesn't take away from the fact that there is one all-powerful, over everything, celestial being, the Lord of Lords. I'm talking about like God, the big God. That doesn't take away from him. Doesn't mean that he didn't exist. Okay? I'm not saying that. I'm saying these other beings came. The one most high, the Father of Christ, is who I serve. Now, I believe that these Anunnaki may have come here, and they terraformed, and they created a mankind, in their own image, the Elohim. I talked about it in my Bible theology with Paul Wallace. If you haven't heard it, go listen to it. And then what they did was they needed soldiers, they needed guardians, they needed this, they needed that. They gave the Dogman, possibly, if you look at it as an actual living creature, which could have existed at one time. I think what we're dealing with more now is a spiritual nature, because the Nephilim were wiped out and they became evil spirits for all time. Read the book of Enoch. Rita says Anubis was a chimera. Yes and no. Yes and no. I'll get to that in a minute. So they created like a dog, really intelligent dog, man, like wolf type creature, canine. Canines are known for their loyalty, and they also have a pack mentality. And they can use them to hunt people down, that want to escape and not be slaves. Gold miners, yes. And so we're mining for gold, and you're like, this is crap. I don't want to do this. So you throw your pickaxe down or whatever tool you're using, and you try to escape. Well, release the hounds. Go get them. Bring them back. Dogs can go and grab you and tear you apart or just pin you, but they're not going to bring you back. A dog man could. A dog man could literally go and grab you and just, take you back. Or they could just be sitting there watching you to make sure you don't do something stupid like quit working or foment rebellion. Yeah, Dick Richards, that's a good point. Yeah. Holly says the Dogman have been used as enforcers for aliens or grays. Yes, I've heard that too. Michelle, Dogman are portal guardians. Maybe. But what is to be made of these different species of dogmen? If you're going to call them different species, but like different, I'm sure they could probably interbreed if still have a physicality to them. Just like a dog can breed with a wolf and a coyote and whatever else. But you got to wonder, like, the different types of these things. The really skinny ones with the long skinny arms, long skinny legs, elongated bodies with the V shape, and they're not real muscular. Nothing like the one I saw, which was big and muscular and kind of bulky. When it ran, you was like thud, thud, thud. Different types, And then their ability to cloak themselves, their ability to pop in and out of places, just, it astounds you. And then you're sitting there going like, we're dealing with more than one thing. I understand that. I totally get that. But the stories you get, and then what's to be made of the Gugwee? Me and Ryan did that on Whisper to a Scream. And that audio was terrible, unfortunately. But it was a good show. I thought we did a good show, but it was just the audio was bad. You got the Gugwee, which is, to me, it has the straight legs, and it has the body, the bulky mass of the Sasquatch. It's a Squatch-type creature with a muzzle. In fact, Charlie Perez did a very good rendition of one. Anthony, can you look in that box and see if we have one of the Gugwee statues or Gugwee figures? If you can find it. I mean, if you can, it's not a big deal. We got so much stuff in that storage. But you got to wonder, like, what is that? Yeah, Harry Rhodes says every kind of animal was hybridized with humans, not just wolves and apes. Thank Ganesh and lizardmen. They were in trouble with God because they were creating these chimeras, right? The Nephilim. Abominations, creations with different shapes and forms like humans. Gugwee means face eater. Yes, Carl. James Strink says it's just a monster. It's an absolute monster. Yeah, it is. But so that leads me into another story, and then we're gonna switch. We're gonna switch it up. We're gonna go another direction. We're gonna talk some vampires. But I got one more, and it is a Gugwee, or at least I think it was. So I was doing an investigation out there, Caldwell, and then another one in Giddings. I talked to a rancher out there in Giddings. This thing had killed some of his calves, some of his sheep. I got in touch with this guy several months back, and we had a conversation. He said, which I didn't know, that it looked like a Bigfoot. When I talked to his stepson and his first cousin's son, they were out riding around on four-wheelers, doing what they were doing, checking the fence lines, whatever. They see this thing carrying off a whitetail. That's a deer. It's a type of deer. And Cassidy says we need more reptilian episodes. Oh, I got reptilian stories, believe me. But it was carrying it over his shoulder, and they thought, look at that. That's a Sasquatch. That's a Bigfoot. That's one of them right there. And when they drove up just close enough, the thing turned and looked back at him, and it had a snout, a muzzle. A short muzzle. That whole time they're thinking, oh, it's a Bigfoot, Bigfoot, Bigfoot. And then they see this thing. It's walking with regular straight legs, big old feet, thud, thud, thud. But in the face. And I'm not talking Dinopithecus or even Gigantopithecus. Because it was not ape-like, other than it just being big. It was humanoidal shaped with a muzzle, very canine-like. But it didn't have the Dinopithecus would have been down on all fours. I've gotten stories of those too, which I think are a little bit different. Not a little bit, a lot different. They look more baboonish. Mason County story comes to mind. So. When these ranchers told me that, I thought, okay, there we go. The highly aggressive nature of this thing. When it saw them, it kept walking, and they kind of paralleled it for a little while. They were about 80 yards from it, which is pretty close. They can close the distance pretty quick. You better have a fast ATV. This thing started to take the deer down off its shoulder, like, okay, what you want to do? What you want? And let me see this one right here. This is the Gugwee right here. Here we go. I'm going to show you this. Charlie did a very good job. Take a look at that, folks. You see that? I know this is a toy, but that's a rendition of it right there. See the flat feet, the straight legs, not like the. Do you have the Dogman? If you grab me one of the Dogman, I'll show the difference. Now here's another version of it. Charlie did the specifications that we talked about and people's stories through the Gugwees that we talked about. and I'll show you the difference. Here's a stripes. This is stripes from the Hernandez Ranch. This guy can do sculpting better than most people can draw. He's not better than me at it because I'm better than everybody and everything. That's me. I'm just great. I'm just super guy. I'm even better at getting drunk and shooting cans. That's stripes, folks. Now, the stripes, in the way I have been told, was not quite. They didn't. It was just kind of like right here in the chest, 2 stripes, boom, 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 but close enough. This is stripes from the Hernandez Ranch, right? Now let's take a comparison here. This is the Gugwee. Kind of looks like Scorpion. If Scorpion's listening, I think he's helping my wife move stuff, so he can't hear me making fun of him. But look at this thing. Stiff arms. Ah! But this is look at the face. See it? That's one version of the Gugwee. Here's the other one. Very pronounced. Now you can see the difference. Here is the Dogman. Stripes. This is the difference between the Gugwee and the Dogman. People probably looking at home. If you've never watched my show, you're like, this guy's on there playing with toys. What's wrong with this goofy guy? This goofy guy needs to be put in a straight jacket. Try it and I'll punch you in the... Because remember, he thinks he's tough too. Anyways, let's do a reenactment of the Gugwee fighting stripes. Oh yeah, you take care of the trouble. Why are we fighting? Let's go find some humans to eat. That's what I think happens. Prove me wrong. Anyways, you get the point, right? And no, I don't sit around playing with these. They're too valuable. I only play with G.I. Joes. That's it. The real American hero. So anyway, that is the difference between the Gugwee and the Dogman, or at least a type of Dogman. Or is the Gugwee a chimeric type of creature? Is this some sort of creature that they was an in between an ape and a Dogman? Did they put the genetics together and make it into something? I mean, you know, what are we dealing with here? And then as just a sidelight here you go. Here's another one. There's a type of Sasquatch. I think this is the Boggy Creek, one of the Boggy Creek. So that's a reference point right there. See, in blue says classified type 1, 2, 3. I don't get into the whole what kind or whatever they are. I played a lot of G.I. Joes, though. I did. Dick Richards says I used to play with G.I. Joes. I always had friends that would come over and they try to steal the little guns because you're like, dude, knock it off, okay? You lose their weapons, and I knew I have a really good memory, and I knew which weapon went to which action figure, which weapon went to which Transformer. It never worked out, did it? When you play with your friends, you always had an idea about how the battle was supposed to go, and they were just like, you're like, dude, you're tearing up my stuff, dude. Look what you just did to Bazooka. You just, like, his helmet just went flying into the wall. Roadblock is crying. I mean, come on, stop. Flint is arresting people. You know? I'll tell you what, man, those G.I. Joes now, I mee, they were the most fun to play with because they were fully posable and you could do anything with them. Those were the best. Yep, G.I. Joe was a great set of toys. We were trying to come up with the money to get the action figure line off the ground, and we were trying to go through a channel through Vietnam to try to get it done, and we were thinking how we were going to do it. And even though I had a commitment of about $48,000. I still needed another 20. And so it's such an expensive undertaking that I don't know what we're going to do. Charlie is kind of doing his own thing. He's making figures and doing whatever. He's making all kinds of figures, and he's making them for all kinds of people. You can order from Charlie himself because he's kind of decided to do his own thing, and I personally don't agree with it. I can't really tell him what to do, but because he's his own guy. But I think that making too many figures of too many people kind of waters down the brand. That was my opinion. So I kind of, if you're going to make figures for people and just get, as them to have as their personal whatever, but when they start advertising it all, in every podcaster, third-rate podcaster can get a figure made. Come on, dude. I don't know. That's just my opinion. Maybe I sound a little crass there, but I just was like, what are you doing? I don't know. I don't agree with it. I think it kind of waters down the brand. I think you kind of, so there's things that we're trying to get done, that we were trying to get taken care of, and it just seemed like he kind of went off and did his own thing, and I didn't totally agree with everybody out there could have one. I did agree with Kenny Irish and Elijah Henderson. I think those need to be made. Angela reminds me minifigures cost less. Start sculpting them. Let's do it. Simon was the name of the bull. We have the Simon the Bull figure too. That's my personal figure. Chiquita Banana 03 says, any vampire stories? Love the show. Thank you for the donation. Thank you. At least somebody's donating. Jeez. Besides good old Voltron and Monica and Nerat. Thank you. I'm up here talking away, slaving under a hot microphone, getting no credit, playing with my toys for y'all. Come on. What's wrong with you people? Loki, I see what you put there, DVD. It's a private joke. Scorpion's going to be mad if he said it. DVD. It's the DVD. Okay, so, folks, here we're gonna switch up gears. We're going to go into some vampire stories. I had a guy who reached out to me. He lived up in Maine, and he was way up in Maine, and he decided to move far, far away from Maine, like all the way to Georgia. And folks, there's two things to this. Okay, Georgia is hot and humid, and it's just gross at times. I don't know. I love the state, but it's just gross, man. Sometimes the weather is so it's ugh. But then up in Maine, you're going to be freezing. I'm talking 8 feet of snow a winter. So anyway, this happened in the spring of 2002. The first time it happened, and I'm going to say that the main story happened in 2002. The first time it happened, he said it happened in 1999, was the first encounter he had. And he was, I think he said 19 years old or something like that. So, anyways, he was living with his parents up in Maine, and they lived near the water. And one night when he was sitting out on his back porch, they had a house that faced this little lake area. Him and his friend, I thought it was kind of interesting because his friend's name was Keith. And one of my friends when I was growing up was Keith, one of my best friends still to this day, Keith Bell. And they saw this thing flapping wings, like flying through the air, and they thought, look at that thing, look at that. And at first they thought it was some kind of dinosaur or something they were looking at. And he had a pair of binoculars, so he ran back inside, and they grabbed the binoculars, and they came out, and it was right after dusk. And by the time they got back out there, or he did anyway, it had gone over the lake and was gone. It was crossed the lake. And he's like, I could have swore that thing had legs. He said it was probably 6.5 feet long. And the wingspan they couldn't see because it was from the side. So they're like, what is that? When they told me the story, I was like, don't know, flying humanoid of some kind, right? Okay, fast forward several months later, same year, 1999. He said it was like, he remembers it clearly. It was right before Y2K. and it was like in October. This was the second sighting. And he said that he heard this like clicking, like a, I can't do it like he did it. I can't do that. But he said it was like a clicking, almost chirping noise. And he said it was coming from a tree outside of his house. And so he's like, he's in his room playing his guitar. Now, he did admit to me, okay, folks, that he was imbibing a little bit, okay? And he said, he goes, I wasn't like a drinker, but, he's a teenager experimenting with, drinking, whatever. So he said, I had gotten into my dad's liquor cabinet. My parents were gone. They went out of town or whatever. And he said that he decided to go into his dad's liquor cabinet. And his dad actually got into the habit of like marking, which I've heard this before, people's booze. He was like, you're whatever. So he was like, only take a little bit from each one. So I had, I'd only had a little bit. And he said, I'm in there thumbing my guitar because he had joined a band or whatever. And he looks out and he doesn't see anything. So he just keeps playing his guitar. His curtains were open. And he said that he walked over to the window because he heard it again. And he heard it louder, like a clicking noise. And he said he looks and he sees something in the tree. There's like these big tree branch, like it was a big old heavy oak or type tree, And he said that this thing was sitting there up in the tree. And actually he didn't tell me it was an oak. I'm assuming he didn't tell me what kind of tree because I didn't ask. But I'm thinking that's the way he described it. It's old with really big branches, whatever. And it was up in the tree. And he said that, dude, there's something there. And he goes, and I saw like something like go like that, with its like right arm. He said it was like a wing pop up, but he saw what looked like was like a bent arm. And he's like, I'm sitting there looking at this and I'm going like, what in the heck am I looking at? So he goes, I opened my window, turned the lights off and opened my window to get a better look. And he said that this thing got down in a crouched position. And he said that he saw it move at that point. And then when it got up, like it stood up, not stood up completely, but he said it got like halfway up, crouched down. When it moved, it opened its wings, like wingspan, boom. He said the wingspan, if you had to estimate, it was like 10 feet. That's big. And he said they looked like bat wings. And he said when he saw it, he's like, the motion light came on. There was like a light or whatever. The light comes on, and he's like, dude, I'm looking at a freaking demon. So he said that it had a really skinny head. He actually described it as like a little walnut head looking creature. It's kind of funny. But he said that this thing had little slanted glowing eyes. He could see just a little bit, and then the eyes opened up big. Boom. And he said that the eyes began to turn from yellow to orange to red. And he said that this thing lifted up like what looked like its mouth. And he said this happened in a matter of seconds. This wasn't no long process. And he said he saw these two huge canines coming down. And then the bottom, you could see the teeth. And it was like the mouth was open. He said the only way I could describe it is like a vampire. He said if you see like a vampire with wings, and he said it was skinny. But he said this was weird. He said it looked like it was covered in really, really, really short fur. Like you could not, just barely you could see like hair off of it. And in some places it had more than others. And the way he described it was very beige in color. The wings were membranous, And he's like, this is the thing we saw flying over the lake. Him and his friend Keith, they saw this thing flying over the lake. And he said, this has got to be the same thing. This has got to be the same critter. And, sorry, folks, my hair's a mess, but I had to take my hat off. It's starting to get warm. Let the heat escape. A lot of it goes to the top of your head. Can't you see that? Hey, how you doing? I just put my finger in the light socket. I'll be back. So, anyways, this thing, whatever it was, just sat there. And then he said it lunged off of the branch and just kind of went toward him and then flew up. Boom. And he's like, dude, he's like, I wasn't drunk. He goes, yeah, I had a couple drinks. He goes, but I wasn't drunk. I know what I saw. So he closed the window and freaked out and ran through the house, locking up everything and grabbing his dad's rifle and his shotgun and whatever else he could find, and just barricaded himself in the den. Nothing happened. I mean, nothing happened. So you got to wonder, what if that thing decided, hey, I'm just going to come through your window? It didn't. But what if it did? Would they find him exsanguinated? Thank you, Eric Garcia, for that donation. I appreciate that. It says, glad to see you, Brother Josh. Thank you so much, Eric. And Voltron, thank you once again for another donation. It says, I'm here, bro. Might not always chime in, but I'm always listening. I appreciate you and the crew for what you all do. Thank you so much. So I guess my question, and I asked this individual, is a very, very nice guy. James, thank you for that donation. I appreciate that. Oh, maybe I could do that. It's a good idea. But anyway, that wasn't the end of it. No. This kept going. Okay? Not like every day, but one day him and his little sister were outside playing. Not playing, but she was, younger than him by several years, but she was still I think she was like 12 or something. And they were playing or whatever. And she was trying out for, I think he said, softball team. And so he was throwing the ball with her or whatever, and they were outside. And they hear like this flapping noise. Okay. I did the sound effects myself. He didn't do that. But anyway, it was, and they look up, they look around, and they see it. And he goes, at this point, I saw it. Clear as day. It was broad daylight. He goes, we saw it. He's like, this thing looked like a vampire, like it was bald-headed. You could see, it had like weird-looking lines on its head. He goes, it was clear. It was at dusk. And he said that the legs were real skinny. The knees were very pronounced. He said there were like circles, coming down, and the legs kind of went up like that. And then there were these curved, clawed feet with toes, hanging down. Kind of like the gargoyle descriptions that we've gotten, except that the head was completely different. It was human-like. He said it would look like a really ugly, skinny dude with like a really fine, thin hair all the way around it, like over it, with a beige color to it. The skin tone was beige. And the wings, and it said it just didn't even pay attention to us. It just flew by, and they ran inside to tell their parents, hey, this thing's outside, we saw it again, They wanted to get a camera and try to take a picture. It's already gone. And then there was one other encounter he had. Now, this happened to him and two of his friends and his mom. His mother had a real bad panic attack. She was having nightmares this time. It was really weird. She was having heart palpitations, having nightmares, having all these problems. They took her to the hospital because her heart was racing. Thought she was having a heart attack. Turned out she was having bad anxiety. Him and his two friends were there. They were hanging out. Him and his one friend took off to take his mother to the hospital. The other friend stayed behind because he had two siblings, and one was only 12, and the other one was 8, his little brother. And the other friend actually wasn't a friend, it was a cousin, I believe. But anyway, he stayed behind and played video games with them or whatever, told them, hey, everything's going to be fine, calm down. So he drove the mom to the hospital. They lived many miles outside the city. They did have neighbors. He said the closest neighbor was like a quarter mile. So it wasn't like they were just out in the middle of nowhere, And when they got back into town, he said it was probably a couple of hours in the hospital, 3 hours, in his words. And right when they're pulling in the driveway, the garage door opened, and the one of the youngest, his little brother, and the cousin who he grew up with, one of his best friends, they came walking out, and they all got out of the vehicle. And when they did, they heard this snapping noise. And this is where it gets really brutal. They look up and they see this thing with something in its mouth that was just kind of hanging off to the sides of its mouth, limp, it was their cat. And then it just shot up off the tree. And so, of course, everybody, freaks out. The little boy, it's his cat. He starts crying and screaming and becoming inconsolable. He runs inside, looks for the cat. They realize that it was their cat. So obviously this thing, killed it. And he said that this went on. And then in 2002, it stopped. He said like an entire year went by. And he had gone away to school. He came back in the summer of 2002. And this is where it gets really messed up. He stayed at his parents' house that summer. He said for like a month, nothing happened. He goes, and then one day I come home from shooting hoops with my friends, and I was by myself. My family was on vacation for the summer or whatever. They had gone on summer vacation. They were gone for like 2 weeks. And he said that after the first week, he was there by himself, and he had just kind of put it out of his mind, the weird creature or whatever. He goes to open the door. The door is open. Okay? This is a scary story. I'm not joking. If you're faint of heart, okay, I don't know what to tell you. He opens the door, and he looks, and he's like, the rug is messed up. There's like this mud and stuff. It looks like somebody tracked mud all over the place. And he couldn't make out any like footprints or anything like that. But he's like, dude, somebody broke in, And he's like, at this point, he goes, I thought I was a pretty stout, tough guy, He's like, I knew where my dad kept the guns, He went and got his rifle. Said, hey, I live here, blah, 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 whatever. He goes up the stairs. Okay. At this point, he's hearing like weird smacking, popping, crunching noises. He don't know what it is, what's going on, He gets to the top of the stairs. He turns. And this, whatever the heck it was, vampire thing, which I think that's what it was bent down, literally, with the dog. They had a medium-sized dog, and it was biting it. And the dog was not making any noise. The dog was just laying there like, he goes, the dog's eyes were open, but I knew it was dead, And he was like, dude, I just fired right at it. He goes, but I was so nervous and so afraid that it just went right over it. And this thing stood up. And he said it was tall, probably 6.5 feet tall, and it was long, it was skinny, it was so ugly, and it stunk. The whole house smelled, ironically, like wet dog. And he said, dude, it smelled like nasty swamp water and wet dog. And this thing was standing there, and it started hissing at him like, making a noise and baring its fangs. And he goes, I was too afraid to shoot again because I was afraid if I shot it and it didn't kill it, this thing was going to. So it began to kind of go toward him. Then it just kind of flipped around, did a 360, and then it like complete circle, like just kind of spun around. And then took off down the hallway and then went out the window, just straight out the window. Boom. Didn't even stop. And then he's like, and then I pulled the trigger and shot again. Well, here's the good news. His dog didn't die. I think he said the dog's name was Casey or something like that. Anyways, Casey didn't die. Casey or Cody or something like that. But anyway, the dog didn't die. He went over to the dog and shook it, and the dog started kind of vibrating and kind of twitching. Puncture wounds in its neck. No blood coming out. The dog had lost a couple pints of blood to this demon, this evil creature, this awful Nephilim creature. But it didn't die. That's the good thing. So his parents come home. He tells his parents what happened. His dad was one of those people who's like, I don't believe this. I don't see that. I don't believe that. And then right after that, that was the bad, and that was the Maine encounter of 2002. There was another one
that finally his dad, Mr. Poo Poo and everything, they were taking his little brother to baseball. And when they got back off vacation, and his dad came in and was like holding his chest, and he's right there by the garage into the kitchen. He's like, oh my God, like something's really wrong, right? Son's like, what's going on? He's like, there's a thing on top of the car. There's a thing on top of the car, there's a man on the wing of this plane. There's a man on the wing of this plane. Anyways, I'm not making fun of his dad, but I mean, come on, dude. You kind of had it coming. You just didn't believe him. He kept telling you, he comes outside. He doesn't see it. His dad describes it to him. He goes, yeah, I know. I've been seeing this thing since 1999. It took like a year off. But it's real. And then his dad went into a full-blown panic attack, and they had to calm him down, and I don't know what they gave him, but they gave him some medication. He already was taking nitroglycerin or whatever, so he had pills and some other stuff he told me. Pretty scary, dude. One of his friends saw it that lived about, I think, 3 miles up the road from him. Saw it carrying what looked like an animal in its hands, as it flapped its disgusting wings. Now, for the Q&A, I mean, what do you think, folks? Was this a vampire? He never saw it again. His parents, as far as I know, they still live there, and this thing isn't there anymore. He said he's been there years, have gone by, nothing. 20 years. It'll be 20 years like this coming summer since he's seen it. Now, he doesn't live in Maine anymore. He moved clear across the country. But his parents still live there. He goes back every once in a while. Nobody has seen it. Nobody's, What is it? What was it? Give me your opinions. Susie Ford says, I never told my daughter monsters weren't real. That's because they are real. They are. Rick says, sounds like a demon. Bulldog says, I have silver tips ammo. Word to the wise on that, Bulldog, and I've actually tried this. Silver doesn't tumble well because I've actually have silver bullets. They don't, just so you know. Demos Mars says, Chupacabra, wasn't it said to originally have wings? I don't know. I don't think so. Not in my investigations. But the guy to ask would be Nick Redfern. Ask him about that. Maybe we could. Let me see what we can do here. Who knows? Maybe Nick could come on and give us his opinion. Very possible. Orlando Herrera says gargoyles. James Smith, I think you're right with Nephilim hybrid. We did one with the gargoyles, though. Everything all right? We did one with the gargoyles, and I did a show on Deus Ex Machina with D.A. Roberts. And now I've done a lot of shows with other people's shows. I used to hardly ever do them, but it says we're buffering. It says that we were buffering. I don't know. Okay. Anyway, I did a show with D.A. Roberts and Nick Valente, and one of the things we talked about was gargoyles. That was the main subject. We talked about a little other things, but mostly that. I think that gargoyles are different, dude. I think they're totally different. I don't think this thing was a gargoyle. I think it was a vampire, or some kind of flying humanoidal vampire type creature. I can't tell. I can't put my finger on and say 100%. This is what I think it is. This is what, because I wasn't there. All I know is what the story that he told me, and I was going to tell that for the podcast. I was actually had a guest lined up tonight to talk about her Dogman experience, and she backed out. She has a job that she had to do late or whatever, so I understand. But I went ahead and told the stories here because that was a whole, that would have been a whole episode, and then we could have added some other stories. But I don't know. You tell me what you think. Yeah. I know what you're talking about. 39, Seanman, he says there's a 70s movie called Gargoyles that big time creeped me out when I was young. Yes, I've seen it. It's actually pretty scary. Hey, they're saying that the video is buffering and seizing. Yeah, it's okay? Okay. It said it buffered for 20 seconds but picked back up where you left off and still say live. They've got him on a time delay. I know this. I think that there's vampires that that run certain organizations like Meta. If you know what that is. But where they suck the life's blood out of us, keep us at 7.3 listeners or on our group. They've stopped us from showing our growth. Yeah, that's another good one. It says here, Narat says, what do you think of these random naked guys and other people that turn up on trail cams in the middle of nowhere? I don't know. It's crazy, dude. I was driving from Leander to Georgetown. If you go and look on a map, they're in Central Texas. There's a highway. I don't even know which one it is. I was driving down, and I just see this in the middle of nowhere. I mean, I was like 10 miles from either town. This guy just ran out, jumped over a barbed wire fence, and jumped over another one and kept going. There was no, I mean, where does this guy live? What is he doing? Why is he running out in the middle of nowhere with no pants on, with no shirt on? Angela says it was Steve Jobs wearing a hang glider. What is this? Eric Lazarus says Dark Was the Night is a really good movie. What is that about? Nina Sinclair, Mothman type creature? I don't think so. Somebody said meth head. Meth head with wings. He did so much that he sprouted wings. I don't know. I don't think so. Yeah, James Estrada heard about vicious little tribal people living in deep within the native. Yeah, national pride. Yeah. James Smith, Mothman Rake hybrid. I mean, fortunately, it didn't break into the house to try to attack him. It just seemed like it was attacking animals, like easier prey, like, domesticated house pets is what it seemed like it was doing. I think the animal his friend said he saw it with was like a rabbit or something. It looked like a rabbit or something. So it was like, it wasn't attacking people. There was no people showing up with wounds on their necks and, it was nothing like that. So something was going on. But thank God it wasn't hurting people. Eric Lazarus says bath salts. Yeah, I've witnessed that too. If you go back to our zombie episode. Yep. So is it Pammy? Pammy Clyde says house pets are easy prey. Yeah, they are. Joseph LeBranch says Jason Trudeau. Are you talking about Justin? I think I know who you're talking about. Says, I can't imagine how scary. Lene says, I can't imagine how scary it would be to find it attacking your dog inside your home. Yeah, exactly. Holly, exactly. This is why I keep my dogs and kitties inside. Exactly. Taylor, I totally agree with that. sees people as too hard of a target and too big. Because you think about it, an animal, even a shark, like when you see a great white shark come up and bam, and it hits a seal, its eyes roll back in its head like boom, and it closes that, and it closes them up to protect the vision, because they depend on their vision. And why would you take a chance and risk injury? And of course, there's easier prey. I mean, you're going to go for the easier prey. Why would you go for something that can possibly hurt you? I mean, it just goes without saying that you're going to attack something that would be easier to to take down. I got one for you. We're talking about UFOs, right? With the episode earlier, and somebody said something about Dogman being mercenary type creatures that work for different alien species. How come it is that you never see these alien type creatures have a vampire-ish type creature with them, but you'll see them with a Dogman type creature? Which tells me they're not really an alien species, or maybe they're just so rare, or maybe people are misidentifying these things. Maybe they're everywhere, and people just don't identify them as being what they are. You know what I'm saying? In other words, like, or maybe they're just so vile that the other weird species of the inner earth or the extra or ultra terrestrials don't deal with them. Buffering. The heck is going on? Sorry about that, folks. We lost a bunch of people because of the buffering. Rev West says, the Dogman I saw the white thing I believe attacked it. I found what looked like. Rev West, you need to get in touch with me. Why don't you send me that story through my email? Or hit me up on Messenger, Facebook Messenger. I don't know why my live stream is making such a fuss. Maybe because we're talking about vampires. I've always thought that the elite and the people that were in charge were vampires. Why wouldn't they be? That's what they are. Yeah, somebody said the topic got too real. Anyway, I had a really short encounter story to tell you. I mean, this isn't really long, but a buddy of mine grew up in Mexico. And when he was in Mexico, what one of the things he told me he saw, and he grew up south of Monterrey, and he told me that when he was a boy, and he's about, I'd say he's a little younger than me now. I saw him the other day, but he was telling me that when he was young, he went outside, like at night, because where they live very rural, and he had to go to basically like an outhouse to use the bathroom. And it said in his whole life, this was the only weird thing that ever happened to him. Like, it wasn't like he had a bunch of stuff happen. Some people are experiencers and they have a lot of stuff happen. This guy said this is the only weird thing ever happened to him. And he screamed, and his abuelito, his grandfather, came out and just literally, started blasting. And in Mexico, technically you're not supposed to have guns, but his grandfather had, a 12 gauge. And he said, dude, it was like he came out and he literally saw this creature with his wings draped over this horse that they had. I'm not a horse, a donkey. Let me tell you how crazy this is. This is crazy. This thing was biting, like its head was turned and it was on the side of its neck biting it. He didn't get a good look at the head. He never got the face. He didn't see any of that. But he did see the wings kind of wrapped around it, and the donkey was just sitting there like, Folks, people here in Texas in particular, they get donkeys to protect the other livestock because a donkey will kick the living out of you. Okay? They will kill a coyote with one good kick. I'm talking like I've literally witnessed a dog, and it was brutal. I saw this on my friend's ranch one time 20 years ago. I was down near Kerrville or Bandera. Buddy out there, and this dog got too close to one of these donkeys, and it kicked that thing, and it flew 20, 30 feet over the fence. Luckily for that dog, the dog lived, and it just broke a couple ribs. But that thing, I mean, dude, those donkeys don't play. They will bite you, they will kick you, and they are just, you know, and they'll make that noise, and they go crazy, dude. Okay, I'm not joking. So this thing was just calm as a Hindu cow, just sitting there, cool as a corpse, while this, no pun intended, while this vampire-looking creature was feeding on the side of its neck. He screams. The thing doesn't even stop. It doesn't even care about him. He runs back inside. Okay. Hey, so limonization, can somebody get rid of that person, please? I don't care about him and his channel. I don't want to hear about that guy. I don't care about liars. Somebody get rid of limonization, please. Yeah, thank you. Ban him. I don't want him. Unless you want to get in touch with me, limonization, and let me explain to you. Okay, I don't support that person in any shape or form. Vault, good to see you. Donkeys will keep bulls from fighting too. Donkeys are crazy cool animals, but my friend. Now, when I was a young guy, my stepmother, who was a quintessential cruel stepmother, I'm not joking. She like literally had me doing all kinds of yard work. We had like 3 acres or something, and she wanted me to push mow it, or 4 acres, something. It was ridiculous. But there was a donkey. And she used to come up to the fence, and she was very sweet, and I would feed her. I would give her, all kinds of stuff. And she would come up to the fence. He'd see me, and she'd come up, and she was real cool. And one night, there was some goats in there, and these coyotes were out there, and that donkey was going crazy. And I ran out there. My dad and my stepmom were gallivanting around town, or whatever the heck they were doing with their depraved selves. Anyways, I ran out there and I fired a couple shots at those coyotes, and they bailed. But that donkey held its ground. I didn't see the altercation or whatever. They had tried to get a hold of a goat, and the donkey wasn't having it. And she was like, no. And there was a mule there too. Mule are always female, and they're sterile, but it's a hybrid between a donkey and a horse. And they had a palomino. But he was old, and he was just kind of out to pasture. But that donkey wasn't playing. And I'm pretty sure her and the mule both kind of like got rid of those coyotes, and I just was out there toward the end of it and fired a couple shots, and they ran underneath the barbed wire fence. And my stepmom had a couple really cool dogs, that came running out there, and I stopped them from chasing those coyotes because they would have probably got killed. I was all of 14 probably. But donkeys, like I said, they're very powerful animals, and they don't play. And so this thing did some sort of now I've heard of how they take sharks and they'll flip them over, and they call it tonic immobility. So these vampiric type creatures, they're doing some sort of tonic immobility to these creatures. A vampire bat can literally land on an animal and drink its blood for an hour, and that thing will not even notice it. So to me, it just makes sense that this thing was some sort of, it's got some sort of power, to put these things in like a stasis, what would you call it, Anthony? Like a limbo stasis? What would you call it? What would it be called, folks? Tell me what the word I'm looking for. Like when something goes into tonic immobility, a stasis. What is it called? Like suspended animation. That's the term. Joshua says, I'm glad you're feeling better, and I really appreciate your Paul Wallace episodes as I have shared it with my mother. Hope you and your family are well. Hope your family are well. Yes. Thank you. Those were good episodes. I enjoyed making them, whatever. The Vault, what are you talking about? I own the camera project now. Elaborate. Darren, very possible. Darren Prosper says, sounds like when you can't move during sleep paralysis. Lene says trance. Rachel says catatonic. Beekeeper trance. Yeah. Yeah. Holly says maybe it secretes something from its mouth like ticks do. Oh, there you go. You don't feel it when a tick bites you at first. That's interesting. Ken Accelerate says, any giant stories? Yeah, I do have a couple, but I'm trying to get a couple more so I can make a podcast episode about it. Actually, I only have two. If they're not Sasquatch, then that they're sort of these giants. So anyway, this thing unlatched itself and just flew up and was gone. Like, the donkey was no worse for the wear. It was tired for a few days, and they didn't take it to the vet or anything. It's middle of nowhere, Mexico. So I mean, it's what it is. It doesn't take a genius to figure out that doesn't take a genius to figure out that this thing is doing something to these animals to make them so calm while it preys upon them. And who's to say that that's even the same creature, because they didn't see the head. Like, they didn't see it. They saw the back of it, which looked like a bulbous little head, whatever. But they didn't see the face. They didn't see it. So you can't 100% say, okay, this is the same creature. Sounds like it. It's in the same realm of whatever, same description. But I don't know. Somebody asking the question, let's just say he was a liar and tried to make a fool. Yeah, this individual, I'm not going to get into who he is or what he is. I don't want to be rude and be mean to people, but what that person, that supposed witness, did, he wanted me to literally bump guests off my show and put himself on there. And I told him no, so he flipped out and threw a temper tantrum and began to make video after video trying to destroy me and be angry, calling me every name in the book. I'm not going to give him energy, dude. He's not worth it. And then him and Barton had a huge falling out. But he continues to lie and go on his little channel that nobody watches and say, yeah, me and Barton, we're cool. He's my friend, blah, blah, blah. Yet him and Barton had a huge knockdown, drag-out fallout where Barton called him out, and he had his friend, Truth Cryptid Puke, whatever, I don't know his name, some crap. He was on there talking trash, and him and Barton got into it, and he said something about me, Cryptid Truther or some crap. I don't know. Well, let's do this. Let's call somebody real quick. Bear with me 1 second, folks. Yeah, it's better to not even get into that particular subject with that individual because that individual's unhinged. He had people putting curses on me and all kinds of stuff. It's just not a good person, not a good guy. Telling people that I refuse to call him and squash things or whatever. Why would I even talk to you, dude, after everything you've done? You've done enough already. I didn't speak his name. I agreed to the deal we made, but yet every video he put up was about bashing me and whatever, dude. Still claims that he's buddies with Barton when he's not. I talked to Barton yesterday on the phone. We talk like all the time. You know. So I got to try to get. Let me see here. Let me call this guy. Can y'all hear that?
Hello?
Hey, Vault.
Hey, man.
Hey, what's going on, man?
Pretty good, man. Been working on the camera project. You was asking about that. A couple of people were asking about donation. I'm not going to put any donation tabs or nothing in nobody else's chat. I just don't like doing that. To me, that's disrespectful to the person where you're at.
Yeah. So is there a way I can call you through the messenger?
That's what I was trying to figure out how to do.
Just gotta text me your handle on there, and I can just call you through Messenger.
I think it's under James Tucker.
Okay.
I know I'm part of the Paranormal. I know I'm in your group.
Okay.
I was fixing to try to look it up through Messenger myself.
Okay, because yeah, that's the easiest way to do it. Let me see if I can message you.
That, or I got a Skype number.
I think it's easier just to do the messenger, but let me see what we can do here. And then I can just call you through there. And then you can give people the 411 on your project here.
Yeah, you know the Dogman cams that DW had going?
Uh-huh.
He gave it up, and it belongs to me now.
Why did he? Okay, yeah, I got you. I'm going to call you right now, okay? I'll hang up and call you. All right, bye. All right, folks, I'm gonna put my friend Vault on here. Let me call him. Trying to do it. It's not really giving me the option here. What the heck is up with these lights? Creepy. Hey, I'm trying to make a call here, and it's not really letting me. Hold on one second, folks. We're going to put Vault from the Vault of Nightmares on here. To make it, I'm trying to call him, but it's not giving me the option. Yeah, there it is right there. There it is, right there. I don't know why I wasn't doing it on that side. Facebook's different on it's different on the computer than it is on your phone and whatever.
Hello?
Hey, Vault, can you hear me?
Oh, yes, sir. Can you hear me?
Yeah. Can you guys at home hear Vault?
Yeah, I cut the YouTube off so I can't hear. Thinking that way it wouldn't backfeed.
Yeah, of course. That's smart. So Vault, me and you, I think the last time we talked, I was on your show briefly about an hour or something about serial killers.
Yes, sir.
We did the one about serial killers. Did you guys do the part 2 and 3 on that, or?
Oh, we did a part 2. We haven't done the part 3 yet because I was actually wanting to get you back on there for part 3.
Yeah.
Because I see me and you go back and forth so well, and with everybody else, you brought a lot of stuff up that, hadn't thought of, and that's what I like.
Yeah. Yeah, I tend to try to
You got a different
know.
way of looking things.
Yeah. So let's talk about this. This camera, the camera thing you got going on. Is this Dogman cams we're talking about?
Yes, sir. It used to be. That's what it was. It's not Dogman Cams anymore.
Okay.
The Dogman Cams YouTube channel is gone. He gave that to DDoS, and I got that, which I already owned all the equipment and everything. The last camera that Dogman Cams had bought was the one that somebody could play sounds on. Well, somebody got out there playing sounds on it, and that camera got plucked off the side of the tree like a daisy and took off by something. Whatever it was able to reach up 9 feet.
9 feet?
Yes, sir. The camera was 9 feet in the air, and it plucked it off. When I say it broke part of the housing when it took it off.
Wow. And so what happened that DW just couldn't? He was too busy or what?
I think he just got we kept having a bunch of people that were sharing the password and stuff like that, and it got to where it was costing it wasn't a whole lot to be made there. And like the camera they got took, it's one of those real nice cameras. I think it was like a $270 camera that just got gone. And he's like, I think he wanted to pursue other things, and he's like, Vault, you've been doing everything anyway on that. It's yours. Yeah. So I think he refunded everybody their money back for the monthly things that they had already paid or had started doing it. I know a bunch of people have contacted me that have already got their refunds, and I'm starting it back up and started it from scratch and started it all over. I've just got 3 cameras back up and running through my DVR system. And I've got 4 subscribers already.
Huh.
It's a slow process. Just to run this camera project, the internet, the electricity and all that, it's like $300 a month.
Is West Vic still helping you with that, or is that?
West Vic is still helping DW. Okay. I don't know what Wes is doing. I think they even shut down the Dogman Cam's Facebook page and stuff too.
Okay.
But,
yeah, because and did you guys pick anything up with those cameras? I mean, I didn't really keep up with it.
Yes, sir. We got 3 good images of. To be honest with you, Wolf, I don't know. These things don't look like a normal Bigfoot. They don't look like no Dogman. I don't know what these things are. A lot of people kept saying they were, I forgot what they call them, the misshapen Bigfoot. We got one image.
Gugwee?
Gugwee. Uh-huh. But I've seen 2 Gugwee before, and these things are huge. When I say huge, people that are in the chat that have seen it, Sean caught one while he was on one of his shows and had access to it. Well, I went back out the next day. I told them, I said, y'all don't understand how big that is. They're like, yeah, it looks pretty big. I said, no, you don't understand how big that is, because I knew where it was standing and I knew where the limbs were. So the next day we did a show where when I went out there and stood, it was 2.5 of me tall. I'm 5'8".
Yeah.
We measured from the bottom of that limb to the ground was almost 14 feet where it was caught. I'll have to get Sean to send that back to me, and so I can send it to you. But I'm talking about, it's clear as day. It's coming out from behind one tree. It's in between 2 trees, and you can see where it's covered. You know, the body's covering the other tree up. Because it's bigger than the tree that it's about 15 inches around the tree is, and it's covering that tree up.
Wow. Yeah, and one of the things I was going to tell the audience too is I want to put together a panel with you, Vault, and I want to get you and Barton Nunley on the show together.
Oh, I'd love that.
Yeah, because you and Barton would click well, because you guys were all pretty similar people. But and
I was going to ask you if somehow you could get me in touch with. I want you and Barton to actually be part of one of my shows when I do it live. See, I go out and interact with these things. One of the things I'm fixing to get ready to do the 5th of this next month is I'm going to call blast out in my backyard in front of 5 cameras that are running live.
The guys, you got to tune into the show on Friday, including you, Vault, if you're not busy, at 8 o'clock, because I'm going to bring up the show horn, because Elijah Henderson from the Cryptid Studies Institute has been using that. Him and Barton both used it to try to conjure those or bring them forward.
I've got 3 of those. Say, I've got a 100 amp speaker system that I'm going to blast this on, and I made up a MP3 of silverback gorillas doing different calls. I know of a Bigfoot that I caught doing a howl, and a couple of others that sounded similar to it, a little different. A couple of sounds that were supposed to be these American werewolves, and then I've got 2 versions of the Sherhorn blast, and then I've got what they call the extraterrestrial sounds, where the sounds they come from outer space. It sounds like the blue whales. I've got an hour's worth of that to play, to call blast while I'm out here. I have no idea what's going to happen. These things charged me New Year's night when we did a show. I set off fireworks, and they did not
you told me about that.
Yeah. Well, I wanted you and Barton to come on one of these shows where I'm on, where y'all can, be part of the panel. And like, if y'all got an idea, I'll try it while I'm live out there.
Yeah, because I was going to say, maybe, you said you were going to do it on the 5th, which is a Saturday. That would work because Barton is off on the weekends, and Saturday, usually, once I get all my guards in place and stuff, I'm usually good, unless something goes down, which the last few Saturdays, something's gone down because we've had, the crime is just out of control. Here,
look, I had my truck got broke into, last week, and I had 2 guns stolen out of my truck.
Wasn't the one you showed on the show, was it?
Actually, yes.
Oh no,
one of them was. They brought. They
that was
stole.
A bad son of
that's
a
the
gun
one I call Rox. That's the one I call Roxanne. That one got stolen, and then my Baba Yaga, my 19. Well, it's converted in 1911.
Yeah.
My race gun, the one I competed with, but that gun is going to get them caught because that gun it's got my initials and everything else all over it. Because, like I said, that's one of the first guns I ever designed myself.
Yeah, I remember when you showed it, and when you lifted it up, folks. Vault is not a scrawny little dude. You and Barton aren't big guys, but you're very muscular, very strong guys. You guys are very you look in shape. Okay, a lot of people don't realize that. Like you and Lyle Blackburn are about the same size, and I think so is Bart. Y'all are about the same size, but you're all very powerfully built guys. It's surprising. Like when I saw your arms, I was like, oh my gosh, you're not just some little scrawny dude, out there.
No, sir. I used to run around. Like I said, I was a PMC for almost 22 years. And like I said, I've worked in Afghanistan. I've worked in a bunch of other countries, and I've worked along the border for a long time. I was part of the anti-cartel task force for like 9 years.
Yeah, and that's actually an interesting story how you and DW, we're not going to get into it here, but you had a very interesting story during Katrina on how y'all met. It's pretty pretty interesting.
If you want to hear that, if they want to hear that story, they can go over and listen to his Katrina story. It's an old one, but somebody had asked earlier how they could contribute to the camera situation. That's something I don't do on other.
Well, go ahead and tell them.
No.
Go ahead, tell them.
Well, if they go to the way I'm doing this is it's $20 a month for a membership, and I'm doing 2 shows a month now out there on this, and they can do it monthly or they can do it bi-monthly, which they save $5. If you do it every 2 months, it's $35. They can go to my channel, and there's a PayPal link and a Cash App link. The thing that I'm asking them to do, once you make that payment, take a screenshot, email it to me. That way I can send you I can reply to that with the code to get in. Plus, it gives me a record to put to save in my archives. It gives you a record, and it lets me get you the password. That's the easiest way I was doing it, because every other way to do it, they take part of your money. And I didn't see like Patreon. Patreon takes like half your money and stuff. And then if they deem so willingly, they will take all your money.
Yeah, it's kind of like the when me and you were talking about the and I had mentioned about doing the conference and all that and how we could get the money together. And I had talked to you, and I had talked to Ken and Lyle and Barton and everybody, and we were all kind of in agreement that it's what is that one called where you pay the money, and then and if you don't come up with the right amount of money, they just take it all.
I think it's a GoFundMe or something like that.
Yeah, it was GoFundMe. It was not GoFundMe. They take part of your money too, but it's that I don't know, Angela Pelegi. If you're on here listening, tell me what it is, because she Kickstarter. Angela was trying to get me to do it, and Lyle was like, I don't know about that, because they'll take your money.
No, well, that
Jody Cook said the same thing.
The government's done got real big into that. The guy, Bigfoot Odyssey, he had one, and it took him, I think they took like $15,000 of his, and it took him like 6 months to get it back. Yeah.
See, that happened to Jody Cook at the NADP, and Lyle and everybody else has kind of told me, we don't want to go that direction. But
that's the reason why I'm doing it this way. I've got a PayPal and a Cash App, and that's the reason why PayPal I get a record of it anyway. Cash App I kind of do, but the easiest way for me to get the access code to them is when they take a screenshot and they send me an email, and my email is vaultkeeper2.0@gmail.com. You send me that, and then I just reply with the code that you got to have to get into it, and then I archive that. That way, if something happens, you can email me back. Vault, I joined such and such date. I can't remember the code. I can just go back in my archive. Yeah, you joined that day, and here's your code, and give it back to you.
Yeah. So here, Jet Boy Shabby, he says a total game changer once we get videos live of these creatures. I'll say this: yes, it will be a confirmation of it. But somebody was asking me the other day, and they said, "What do you think if we got pictures of them, and they're really good? And does it prove that they're physically flesh and blood creatures?" I said, no. It doesn't.
No.
It proves they exist. It doesn't prove that because I've seen hundreds, if not 1,000 photos of ghosts. I mean, literally.
That's the other thing we're catching out here. That's the reason I hated the name Dogman cams to start with, because we've caught so much stuff. See, I've got 2 Indian burial grounds that are behind my place with a flowing river, and we've caught you've heard of the blue will-o-wisp? We've caught those in my backyard 3 different times on camera. They would come up out of the ground, float around, move with purpose, and like it had an intelligence, and then it would just go back into the ground.
Oh. 11/11, folks.
And then we've caught these things that look like aliens. Is the only way I can tell you what that's the creepy. It looks like a bigger version of an ET or whatever. I don't know what it is.
Yeah.
And they all come from that direction back where those mounds are. And I believe firmly, all right, to me, everything has a spirit.
Yeah.
So let's say a Bigfoot or one of these. I hate the name Dogman. I've been calling them X-Beast because I don't know what they are. I think they're actually more closer to a baboon than they are a canine.
Some of them are. The one I saw wasn't. The one I saw, I think, was what what we say here, the hombre lobo. But I do believe that the Dinopithecus is a type of giant baboon that still exists. I'm firmly I believe that because I've just gotten to, like, out in Mason County here in Texas, we got these reports, and I think that's what they are, like a giant baboon.
I believe everything has a spirit, just like that. Let's say it dies. You've heard of 100 times of people dying, and people seeing those ghosts, their ghost, or ghosts come from somewhere. Well, let's say this animal dies, this Bigfoot. well, why couldn't its spirit come back and be lingering around? That would be, you could see it, and it could move through the forest. And then when people go to look for it, it's not there anymore. That would help solidify some of the sightings. Now, there are flesh and blood creatures. I've come across them. I've come across them out here. Yeah. I've been on video out here where they took a tree limb that was about 10 foot long, about 8 foot around, and threw it through the trees while we're live on air, and it comes out and lands in front of me. And
it's funny because
go
ahead.
And there's nobody out there because I took I did a video called A Walk in the Woods where I went, everybody's like, oh, there's a light or something back there. I told them, I said, there's nothing back there but mounds and a creek. So I took a video of me going back there. I walked in from where the camera is all the way back to where the creek is. And everybody's like, Vault, where you at? I said, I'm in my backyard.
Yeah.
See, I own 18 acres right here, and then my closest neighbor is 1.5 miles down the road. That's my closest neighbor, and then you go through the woods, about 2 miles is my next neighbor. So, like I said, I live in the middle. I live in the woods. But they stole my shotgun Roxanne, but what I call the stand-in replacement, I had to go out and dig in my gun vault. I forgot that I had a modified AA-12, so that's what I'm carrying now.
It's funny we're talking about the spirits of these creatures because I've been doing an investigation in Caldwell, Texas, and there were stories going back into the 1920s and even into the late 1800s, all the way to the 20s, of animals being killed, of all these, things happening. Mm-hmm. And then this woman that was supposed to come on the show, she's going to tell her story about one of these things right outside of Caldwell where it looked like a spirit, and I was going to let her tell the whole story, and she was going to come on tonight, but she had other things to do. I think it's a spirit of a dogman. I think it was killed, at least one of them, and I think it just moves around as a spirit. I believe that these things are some sort of metaphysical Nephilim type creature. Dick Richards was saying something in the chat here. He says that they're flesh and bone, but they are not flesh and blood, because the blood is where the true life is, and so if you shoot them, it doesn't hurt them.
No, I've actually those. All right, though, Gugwee, the only 2 Bigfoot I've ever tried to hunt to kill in my whole life. Me and Wes Garmer talked about them. There was an incident up above. It was in Washington State where there was a Gugwee that had been seen several times. It actually, a lot of animals were killed by it, and a couple of hikers were supposedly killed by it. This thing was just, when it would kill something, it would just beat it into the ground. It was killing, not for food. It was just killing to be killing.
Mm-hmm.
Well,
that's what the LBL is all. That's what seems to be happening there.
Well, I got on this trail and I tracked it down, and about 300 yards away, I put a 308 round in its. Well, I was trying to hit it in the base of the neck, and it moved, and I hit it in its shoulder, and blood and tissue come off of it, and it tore off, and I was able to get one more shot. It climbed up a 50-foot vertical cliff. I had to go around. Took me a whole day, and I found where the blood. I'm talking. It looked like you took a 5-gallon bucket of blood and covered the ground. Where the body was, I have no idea. But I don't think it walked away from her. I think another one grabbed it and took it off. But they will bleed. Those will.
Yeah, now, some of them do. I mean, but if you look at like Skinwalker Ranch, that creature, they shot it and just flesh flew off of it. I've heard that before too. There was a guy, I talked to a guy that was up in a tree stand. One of these things crawled up and he shot it point blank and flesh flew off of it, but there was no blood.
Well, I worked out there, Skin. When Bigelow bought that, when he first bought that, he brought a lot of security in out there, and I just happened to be one of the ones that got pulled to go out there. And that is a weird place.
Yeah. And then it said that, you'd say it's in the path of the Skinwalker, which they avoid because the Skinwalker was the curse that was put on them by the Apache, I forgot what their name is. That just escapes me. But the Navajo, the Navajo, the Navajo. Yeah, they were mortal enemies with the Utes, and of course they cursed them.
Oh yeah.
So, yeah, because I had Shonda Hardinger on, and she's good friends with Ryan Skinner, who I corresponded with, and you know they're big into the Skinwalker Ranch, and she was talking about a Skinwalker running around in her hometown.
Well, Skinwalker, the actual true Skinwalker Ranch, what Bigelow originally bought, is way bigger than most people think. And then they did a show, I think, where the guy that's out there that's head of their security now, he was out there when I was there, but he was like one of the drivers. He wasn't big into the security thing until after a bunch of others left. What these guys have bought now, they've been doing all a scientific study. That was what they call the front part, right before you get to the basin. On the other side of that basin, out there in what we call no man's land, that's where all the weird occurrence. And Bigelow still owns that.
Mm-hmm.
That's the first place we were out there on patrol, and we're out there in the middle of nowhere now. Sometimes, as far as you can see, any direction you look.
And Bigelow was an investor from Las Vegas, wasn't he?
Yeah, Bigelow was Well, Bigelow is part of the he was big into the aeronautical industry, and after he got Skinwalker Ranch, he got even bigger, and then he got into NASA and the what they call Sky Force Defense Program. And he did all that while he was out there. What they were doing, I have no idea. Like I said, at that time, we were kind of kept in the dark. We were like, you don't need to know unless we tell you. But we were out there on patrol, and we come across the easiest way I can describe it. It looked like turkey tracks that were about 2 foot long and about 2 foot in diameter. And I'm sitting there looking at it like, man, what in the heck did this? Because there was an older guy that'd been there before me. And he goes, without missing a beat or nothing, he goes, that's the mini T-Rex tracks. And he just walks off. And I'm like, hold on, man. Whoa, wait a minute. Whoa, you can't say something like that and just walk off. What do you mean mini T-Rex tracks? Yeah. Is there a big T-Rex? Is there? But they had these lizard things and the thunderbirds that run around out there. There's all kind of crazy stuff that goes out there. They used to set up in a bluff out there. They had cattle and then sheep and stuff like that in these pens. And at the end of the pen, they would have a guard tower up above it, and they'd put these animals in there. They never told us why they were doing it, but like they would put 5 animals. I won't never forget this. It was me and 3 other guys in there. And we were just chatting like we're talking now. And you could hear the sheep down there bad and stuff. Well, all of a sudden, we started hearing this hum. And then the lights on the tower and everything went out, and you heard the sheep down there, bang, bang. And then it kind of like they got closer to us, and then the lights come back on. Now, when the lights went off, this all happened in about 10 seconds. Before the lights went off, there were 5 sheep in there. When the lights came back on, there was only 3 sheep in there. And this is a 12-foot enclosed area. Where those sheep we looked for hours, couldn't figure out how they got out, where they went to. Or not, that was odd. We wrote it in our report, sent it in, and that was it. It was like, okay, no, where did the sheep go?
Yeah.
I'm talking about because we were 20 yards from them. They were at the far end of the pen. It was 20 yards. Like I said, we heard this hum, the lights go out, and you could hear all the sheep running around and like something's chasing them for just a few seconds, and then the lights came back on, and there's 2 sheep missing. I have no idea. There was no blood. There was no hair. There's nothing. It's just 2 sheep are like they disappeared.
That's crazy.
Corey
Cole wants to ask you a question, Vault. Corey Cole says, hey, could you ask Vault if he thinks the Gugwee are products of inbreeding?
That's part of it, I believe, because that's where you get the extra digits, the missing digits, I believe, which that happens in humans. Mm-hmm. The Gugwee, the one that I hunted, when I got to look at it, the easiest way, if you think of a Neanderthal, with Down syndrome. That is the way it looks, and it doesn't act like it acts like a 3-year-old on the worst temper tantrum you ever seen.
Oh, so those aren't really Gugwee. Then there's something else.
I said that's what I was told there supposedly were, but I've only seen 2 of them with my own eyes, and that's what the way both of those look. Now I've also seen some Bigfoot that kind of resembled the Patty, that kind of had that Down syndrome look. And now I'm not trying to upset anybody.
No, I understand what you're saying. Yeah, but we're not disparaging people, but that you're just describing how they look. And I've heard this before. But go ahead.
Yes, sir. But that's the only way I understand and I can explain to people the way it looks. And those are the one, and they acted different. Like they were more aggressive, and because I had one of them, it wasn't a very big one. It was probably about 6 foot tall, maybe. It charged, and then all of a sudden another one from back up in the tree line did a grunt and a holler, and that thing stopped, and it was banging the ground like, a kid, like, oh man, I can't, you don't never let me do nothing.
Yeah.
That's the way it acted, and it turned around and went back. So I don't know if it's, a mental thing or what it is with them. There's so much unknown in this industry.
Yeah.
I always say we know a thimbleful of a whole glass.
If you took all of us together, you still couldn't see through the glass darkly.
No.
I mean, as you say, yeah.
No. And what gets me is you get all these people talking, I'm a Bigfoot expert. Do you have one in your basement that you study every day?
Well, there's a ton of Dogman experts out there too. And it's crazy, though. I want to say something, folks.
Somebody was in your chat a while ago, and I wish I could shake your hand when you told them to kick him out. I'm with you. I absolutely hate that person.
Yeah. I'm gonna say something about Vault, guys. I've known Vault for a while, and he's always been a very stand-up guy, and he's got a very good channel, folks. If you go and check out, he's got a lot of good material, a lot of good stuff.
Thank you for that.
His first channel got messed up, and he had thousands of people on there, but he just started over, rebuilt, and got right back to it. And he's friends with a lot of other podcasters who aren't just garbage, because there's a lot of garbage people out there. Like Sean G's a good guy, Bass. You got some good people, and I'm fortunate to be friends with you guys, and you guys invite me into your chats, and we talk. Because there are a lot of charlatans and just garbage people out there, dude. Believe me, I'm telling you right now, dude. I've had to. This is my 3rd year. I'm going in April. It will be 2 days after I guess it was my mother's birthday. In the middle of April is when I started this, and this is going to be I'm in my 3rd year, and so it's crazy. I'm coming up on year 3. April 2019. And so this will be my 3rd year, and so I have had to navigate the landmines and the mazes of who's cool and who's not, and who you can trust and who you can't. And so when you do find solid people, you have to try to, stay on the same level together, because you have to, like I said, navigate through all the crap.
I try to work with anybody and everybody. The only thing that I ask is you give me the same respect that I give you. And if I tell you something, that's because I thought it was true at the time. If I find out it's not, I'll be the first one to tell you I was wrong, and I apologize.
Yeah.
But like I said, that's just the way I've lived my whole life. Lying to me is a waste of time, because I have a hard time remembering the truth. I have to write everything down.
Yeah.
But like I said, I've been around the Bigfoot industry probably 30 years. I've known a lot, what I call the old timers, and that's where I learned a lot of stuff from.
Well, controversial like DDoS, okay, and I'm not going to get into opinions or whatever, but he had a problem not too long ago, and we're not going to get into that, and he had some controversy swirling him. But the one thing I can say about him, and this is the one thing I can honestly say good, and I'm going to say other thing, but I'm saying one for sure, is that he had a story that somebody came on his show and told, and he got thousands and thousands and thousands of views on that show. But when he figured out that it was BS, he, with in good conscience, he couldn't keep it on his show. He took it off, and that was his highest rated show.
But that's just the kind of guy he is. Like I said, look, this is the thing. We're human. To be human is the error.
Yeah.
Everybody has their thing. And when DDoS got in trouble, he went to jail. He spent his time in jail, and he got out. So apparently, to society or to the judicial system, he paid his due.
Well, like I said, he was honest, and he took that down. Unlike some big Dogman podcaster, we're not going to say his name, but Voldemort. He keeps stuff up. Even though he knows it's a lie, he knows it's fake. The people have even said, "Oh yeah, I was drunk, going on there rambling." He don't care as long as it gets him views. The fakeness will continue.
I'm going to use his own words against him because this is his words, and you probably heard him say this. Look, the people believe what I tell them to believe.
Yeah. Oh yeah, that's his thing. That was it. Definitely. Yeah. Well, Vault, I'm gonna have to hit it, man. It's good talking to you, but we're gonna get together. We're gonna record, me and you, and then we need to do a show with Barton. Like, I'll get Barton on board.
I'd love to, man. I'm actually in about 30 minutes. I'm fixing to fire up a show over here and show everybody I got the cameras back up, and then I'm fixing to start releasing the codes to the people that have already paid. And I thank you for letting me come on here.
Absolutely.
And if y'all want to come over, like I said, in about 30 minutes, I'll have a show up. Y'all are more than welcome. And there's no telling from Bigfoot to ghost to whatever we're going to talk about.
That's right. We were talking serial killers the other day. So, folks, go check him out. Vault of Nightmares. Good friend of mine.
Thank you, man.
Jay Tucker. He's a good guy.
I try to be.
Well, you're a good guy unless somebody jerks your chain, and then you're not such a good guy. But that's to be expected.
Well, that's just about everybody. Hey, I got to actually get to I got to come out to Texas in the middle of April. I was going to try to hook up with you while I was out there and see if we can't. Like, you want to go ghosting or whatever? Hey,
yeah, whatever. I got it all here. Talk to a lot of different people out here, man, and I can take you to a lot of different spots. Now, there's a few places I'm not going to crawl around in, but I'll take you to, and you can go crawl around. Like I told Barton and, and whatever, I said, y'all can go crawl around out there. I'm not,
Well, I've got a house out in I lived in Fort Worth for like 16 years.
Yeah.
I've still got a house out there, so that's one of the things I got to come check on.
Maybe you can come out here, and of course, my friend Lyle Blackburn lives up. Him and Nick Redfern both live like right there in that area. Maybe we can go aggravate them.
It sounds good to me,
if they're not doing the circuit, doing the shows or whatever, which they might be or might not be, but yeah, dude, hit me up, Vault. It's good talking to you. I'm gonna run, everybody. I gotta go check my posts, my accounts, my company.
Yeah, that never stops.
It doesn't. Never stops.
See, security is one of those things where there is no 9 to 5 and there is no Monday to Friday.
Nope.
It's 7 days a week, 365 days a year,
Exhausting.
24 hours a day.
Yeah, they vandalized somebody's car last night in one of our garages. I know it happened after we left, but I mean, and all they did was just tear it up. Just to tear it up. So I got to deal with that. I got to get up early tomorrow and go get a key fob, and I'll be out running around doing my guards. I see some weird stuff out there. Let me tell you, Austin is full of freaky weird stuff. But folks, Vault,
Austin's weird.
It is. It's just a weird place. So Vault, I hope to see you, and then everybody remember Friday I got the show and I'm doing with Kenny Irish.
Be there Friday.
Lon Strickler. I'm going to be on with Elijah Henderson, Ron Murphy. Everybody seemed to be stoked to have me on. I think I was the last one to sign on, and I was shocked that everybody was so happy to have me on.
Is that going to be on your channel? Is that going to be on your channel?
No, it's going to be Phantoms, and let me get the information. I'm going to put it on the Facebook, the Paranormal Round Table group page. But let me read it out here because I just got sent it to me.
Yeah, because I'd love to come over and listen to that.
Yeah, we're going to have a roundtable discussion. But let me do it real quick, and I'll read the name off of the here it is here. It's Phantoms and Monsters Radio, Cryptid Roundtable Discussion, investigator and researchers Josh Turner, host of the Paranormal Round Table, proud Texan who grew up around the paranormal, supernatural, having many personal experiences, blah, blah, blah. So it's an honor. I'm going to be doing that with Kenny Irish, who's best-selling author. Me and Kenny are going to be collaborating real soon. I'm trying to finish his book. It's taken me forever because I have 5 other books I'm trying to read, and I had also promised David Weatherly, which I'd like to apologize for to David, because I'm supposed to be reading the Carolinas, and I can't even get through them. I got so much to do.
I do books on audio because I can't sit.
Yeah, you were telling me that. You could just yeah. But I got to share my airwaves with my wife, so. That's how it goes, man. All right, Vault. Yeah. I'll see you, Jay. I'll see you.
All right, man. I said in about 30 minutes I'll have a show up on the Vault of Nightmares. Everybody's welcome.
Folks, y'all go over there if you're night owls and you want to go check it out. You won't be disappointed. He's always got a good show.
Appreciate it, man. I'll talk to you later.
Yeah, later on, brother.
Bye-bye.
Bye-bye. So, folks, that is my friend Vault. He has a channel, Vault of Nightmares. He's a good guy. Always got something going on. I'm thrilled to hear that he took over Dogman cams. I guess DW was kind of overwhelmed with all that. He's got a lot going on. He always does. So, hit him up. Go check out his channel if you guys want to keep going. I have to go do guard checks, unfortunately. It's just the nature of the beast. I'm going to have somebody pick right now. I want James Estrada. I don't know if Ken Mullins is still in. But pick somebody from the audience here. Let's pick somebody, and I'll send you. Bless you. I'll send you guys some PRT swag or a book or whatever. Who knows? We'll see what happens. I'll just, I'll send you something. Pick somebody to win something here, and then when we drop the link on the Paranormal Roundtable group page, or not group page. Anthony gets mad when I say page. It's a Paranormal Roundtable group. Okay, Paranormal Roundtable group. The one that's stuck at 7.3 thousand for 2 months, even though it should be probably 8,500. And I'm going to keep beating the drum about that because that's the truth. If you go and you leave a comment, I'll pick somebody, maybe even more than 1 or 2 people. I did this last time. I picked 3 different people. And I will send you out something, okay? Because I'm determined to take care of my fans, folks. I want my fans to have something. And I'm even going to pick a couple people from the show that I'm going to do Friday. Remember, Mandela Effect Part 2, right? 7 o'clock to 8. And then at 8 o'clock, I'll be on Phantoms and Monsters with Lon Strickler, Elijah Henderson, Kenny Irish, Ron Murphy. And we're going to do a cryptid roundtable discussion. Who knows how long it'll go? I don't know. And then I'm going to pick a couple people from that audience, too. You go and check it out. And so you got multiple ways to win PRT swag and books, autographed books. Lon Strickler is one of them, right, with the winged cryptids. He's got a lot of cool stuff in there. Ken Gerhardt, David Weatherly, Lyle Blackburn, Linda Godfrey, Chad Lewis, just tons of Kenny Irish, tons of people, tons of authors, David Weatherly, Nick Redfern. I'm just about to stock up again and get a bunch more. So you guys, we're giving away prizes, we're giving away whatever because I want you to support the show by wearing the stuff. If you don't win, because we do have thousands of listeners across several different platforms, we have tens of thousands of listeners. So if you don't win, you can always go to the PRT store. Go to prtpodcast.com. prtpodcast.com, and the store is there, and you can buy something that looks like this. Different colors, different strokes, different folks, whatever you want to do. And you can always buy a hat. If you want to buy a hat, if you say, hey, Wolf, I'm probably just going to send it to you, okay? If I can do it, unless you live somewhere where I got to pay, whatever, let me know. Typically, the first 10 people every month, I just send them a hat. But after that, then somebody, it's whatever. Somebody said there's only 11 likes on this live. Are you kidding me? How's that even possible? Is that true, Anthony? Only 11 people like this show? What's this guy talking about? So Joe Fingelin, before you leave, let me ask you a question. Joe, where are you from? If you hadn't already bounced. Overbuilt Automotive, where are you from? We had 445 something, maybe even more, 460 I think at one time, and only 298 likes. Jeez. It's not hard to just like and subscribe, folks. It's not hard at all. And it helps out. Overbuilt Motor, you were picked by one of my admins, by one of my guys here, by my man James Estrada. John Cunningham, Canada, I'll pay shipping. It's about $80 to ship up there to you, John. Hit me up on Messenger or on email, and I'll work something out with you. We'll try to get, if you really want something and you're in Canada, I'll try to work with you. I've tried to help people. So Overbuilt Automotive, you won. What do you want? Tell me what you want. You want a hat? You want a hoodie? Do you live in a cold area? Let me know. And I think Ken is gone already. So that's why I was choosing Joe Fingelin says Clayton, Georgia, to be precise. Joe, are you friends with me on Facebook? Because it's real easy to just put it on Messenger. Hit me up on Messenger. If not, then go to email me, and I'll send you out because my other admins are gone. My moderators are gone, obviously. So he picked Overbuilt Motors. James Estrada picked him, and that's awesome. And I picked I don't want to say your name wrong. I'm trying to get it correctly here. Joe Fingelin. Did I say your name right? Fingelin? So you guys won today, okay? And now we're going to drop the link on the Paranormal Round Table group, and we're going to pick somebody else off of the comments. Tell me what you think. Did it suck? Was it good? Say something good, because you're probably not going to get picked if you say something bad. So that's good, man. You know, saying negative things ain't going to get you nothing. But you voice your opinion, though. If you think it sucked, let me know. All right, guys. So that's all the time we have for today. Vault said he's going to have a show. You guys are night owls. You want to hoot with the owls? Go check it out. A good friend of mine. Oh, thank you, Shotzi. Appreciate that. Appreciate that donation. Overbuilt Automotive, a hat. I'm in East Tennessee. Tennessee, that's actually... We were talking about Tennessee earlier. What kind of hat would you like, sir? You want one of these? Or what do you want? What color you want? We got black with the red, with the hand coming out. We got all of them. We got a ton of them, different hats. Just all depends on your preference. And Amy, thank you for that donation. Amy says missed the show. Sorry, Amy, you didn't, because it's a live stream and people have this misconception. I've ever talked to people, you know, and they're like, "Oh, I got to work on Tuesday." I'm like, "Well, watch the replay. We post all the shows up on the Paranormal Round Table on YouTube. They go right to YouTube, so you can go and watch the show. I mean, if you missed it, you missed it. I mean, go watch it. Still supporting the show." Anyway, John Cunningham, get with me. We can talk. Maybe we can split the difference or whatever. And, that's it, guys. I'm going to see you later. I'm out of here. Pray for me. I pray for you.